It just was like an explosion going off in front of him. It blew him back.
It felt a little bit like a physical blow. It felt a little bit like an electric shock, too.
And he landed way back over here.
I just blacked out.
And that's when I hit the gas. We realized that we had left Travis here. He was probably hurt. From every appearance, he was hurt. If he wasn't dead, he was certainly hurt. We all got out of the truck at one point and kept discussing about it, kept looking back over here and talking. And after, I don't know, 10 or 15 minutes of this conversation, we finally decided we better go back.
I regained consciousness very slowly. I was kind of in and out. I didn't know where I was. I was very disoriented. I just, in and out. I eventually kind of remembered what had happened, walking up to the object and being hit by something. So I kind of surmised that I'd been hurt and that they had taken me to a hospital, and that's where I was.
Took a flashlight and shined it in the road down here and up in the clearing. We didn't see right off the bat. Travis isn't laying there where he'd fallen. He wasn't there.
There was an object lying across my chest. The light above me was sort of a rectangular fixture. I was lying on a hard surface. It seemed very hot and humid. But, the main sensation was just this pain, this overpowering pain.
They conducted a 4-day search the next day and for the next 3 days after that. A very extensive search all over this entire area, which expanded out and out and out, and large area. A lot of men on horseback, dogs, a lot of men on foot, vehicles, helicopters, airplanes, Couldn't find any trace of him. Never a trace of Travis. Never a trace of Travis. Never a trace of Travis.
When I finally got where I could focus my eyes, so I could hear the sounds of movement around me. I knew there was someone there, but I just, at first, assumed it was doctors, people working on treating me. But when I finally got where my vision cleared, I saw these creatures standing over me, and I just flipped out. I instantly knew that I wasn't in a hospital, and I just flipped out. They came towards me. I started screaming at them, and I grabbed an object and swung it at them, screaming. They stopped all simultaneously, sort of extended their hands, and then all at once they all three turned and left the room. And there in the doorway is what I took immediately to be a person, a human being. He took me quickly down this hallway into a room where there were some other people waiting, people who looked like him. They led me over to this table and started to put me on this table, and I started to have major misgivings about, was I being rescued or what was really going to happen to me here. And one of them put a mask over my face, so it sort of looked like an oxygen mask. And I tried to grab it away, and I managed to get my hand on it, but I couldn't pull it away before I lost consciousness. The next thing I knew, I woke up. I came to quickly, and it was cold and dark, and I looked up, and there was a light above, and I saw a craft hovering above me, and it just shot up into the sky. I looked around. I was lying next to a highway.
Travis was missing for 5 days.
It's a mystery to me. You know, I can't understand what was going on there.
What makes abductions hard to dismiss is the close similarity of the experiences described.
Even from the very earliest UFO reports, people noticed that there were considerable similarities in the stories. What I found from this comparative study was that there were a great deal of similarity in the stories. Most start out with a capture, go to examination, and on very rare occasions, a kind of spiritual experience. There's also a great deal of similarity in the content, the description of the beings, the descriptions of the ship itself, the feelings and sensations and strange effects that people report. These are all extremely similar from one story to another. The sequence of events staying so regular is quite peculiar, given the fact that these are lengthy stories, they're quite bizarre. They would be excellent opportunities for people to simply rearrange some of the episodes or some of the events within an episode, but that very seldom ever happens.
Where do these alien kidnappers come from? They report their home planets from various star systems and distant suns. They include the Pleiades, Betelgeuse, Barnard's Star, and Zeta Reticuli. They're all light years from Earth. No signs of life have been found emanating from them. Some aliens bring messages of goodwill. Others come to harvest our genetic material. Abductee Steve Neal has mixed feelings about his experiences.
I have, in my opinion, definitely had contact with something non-human, independent, very smart, and it appears has a great concern for my soul personally. But when you get abducted, as it's called, and put on a table and reduced to nothing more than a piece of flesh, and you have needles put in you and you're scared to death, it really gets your attention. What I'm doing here is I'm illustrating various scenes that are going to be in a film that I'm producing about the so-called abduction phenomenon, or as I like to call it, the visitor phenomenon. It has a less threatening sort of connotation to it. In fact, that's all I've been doing for the last year and a half is gray alien stuff, and aliens and Roswell debris for reenactments of Roswell pieces done by Borderline and sightings and encounters and all these different shows. It's kept me very, very busy. And so I've been doing sort of accurate portrayals of the way the beings are actually seen. And these beings you see here are actually based on information that I obtained from working with a hypnotherapist about 4 years ago.
A Florida insurance company now offers an alien abduction policy. However, to pay out, it demands greater proof than recalling an experience under hypnosis. And why do the various alien races choose different parts of the world to fly to?
One peculiarity of the stories, one element that would suggest there might be some cultural differences, is that while in North America, the small gray aliens have been the most common, in Britain, the commonest alien has been the tall, blonde Nordic type. In South America, you tend to get more of a variety of aliens.
Alien abductions are not as straightforward as they seemed. Does the answer lie in outer space, or is it all in the mind? The brain is an electromagnetic organ. There are billions of electrical pulses whizzing around it every second. Mess with those signals, and all kinds of strange things can occur.